Hey everyone, and welcome to Dr. Apu Artin Academy channel. Today we are going to discuss part 3 of University of Debrecen seminar number 2. And here in this part, we will continue talking about the given examples and the solved problems. So here we still in example number 4. Example number 4 says a computer disk manufacturer has 3 locations to produce computer desks. Okay, so they are producing desks in 3 plants: plant A, plant B. So they have 3 factories: factory A, factory B, and factory C. So plant A produces 30% of the desks, out of which 0.5% are defective. Okay, and the plant B produces 50% of the desks, out of which 0.75 are defective. Plant C produces the remaining, so I have here 30% plus 50%, 30% plus 50%, 80% plus 20%, so this is the 100%, okay? This 20, remaining 20%, out of which 0.25 are defective. So the question here will be, what is this 0.5%? The 0.5% here is the percentage of the defective, but within plant A. So it is given that this defective work in plant A. So the 0.5, just let's make clear this one. The 0.5 are the defective work within the plant A. So it's given that are produced by plant A is given, okay? So this is the probability of defective work given that they are in plant A, equals 0.005. This is 0.5%. So 0.5 divided 100 equals 0.005. Okay, this is from where we got this 0.5. Okay, and the second factory has the same thing. Here the defective work 0.75 defective work out of plant P. So given plant P. So 0.75 is the defective work, the probability of the defective. So we have to look this probability of what? Of factory or probability of the defective? It's probability of the defective work. So probability of the defective work given that they are in factory P. And the same thing for probability C here. Okay, so the defective work in factory C. So what is the percentage they are producing? Factory A producing 30%, factory B producing 50%. If he didn't say, we knew that factory C will be producing the remaining, which is 20%. Okay. So here he has given me the probability or the fraction or the probability of the disks which are produced in factory A and in factory B and in factory C. Okay. And the combining probability of defective given that it's A, defective given B, probability given C. And here he wants me what is the fraction of the defective work produced by the manufacturer overall. So here I have the defective in A, defective in B, defective in C. If you remember, we said the total of probability of the defective. You remember here when we talk about marginalization that we have combined, and we need to get one margin of them. So I have here combination of AB1, AB2, AB3, like defective and factor B1, defective and factor B2, and so on. Okay, so in order to get the probability of the defective work, or the probability of A, just withdraw A, take A out of them, only the probability of A. We have to get the probability, the sum of the probability of A intersect P. So probability of A intersect P1 plus the probability of A intersect P2, the probability of A intersect P3. So we have to get the sum of them, okay? And if you remember that we have the probability of A intersect B can be written also as the probability of A given B, okay? We can just convert this one into given, but we have to multiply by the probability of the last one, probability of B, okay? So also it's repeated here. So the same thing what we are going to use there, because this problem about the marginalization. This problem has two parts. The first part is marginalization. The second part will be Bayes' theorem. So the probability, the question here, what is the fraction of the defective disk produced by manufacturer? The probability of defective will be equal to the probability of the defective in A, the probability of the defective in C, the probability of the defective in D. But we have to multiply each one of them by its ratio, its percentage, okay? By its percentage. Otherwise, we have to use the general rule, which the probability of D will be the probability of the intersection of defective with A, plus the probability of intersection between defective and B, plus the probability of intersection between defective and C. We have the two ways, either to have the probability of intersection between D and A, defective and factor A, defective and factor B, defective and factor C, or if we want to use the given formula, so we have to multiply them, because if you remember, we said that the probability, we just said the probability of D intersect A equals the probability of D given A times probability of the last one, probability of D. So we have to multiply them. Okay, this probability of A here. Okay, so probability of D intersect P equal D intersect A equals the probability of D intersect A times the probability of A. Let us write it in a clear way. So the probability of D intersect A, which I need the probability of D intersection between D and A, the defective and in A, defective in B, and defective in C. Okay, so each one of them. So I will take the first one as an example. The probability of D intersect A equals the probability of D given A. I have to replace this one. Probability of D given A times the probability of the last one, probability of A. So probability of D given A times the probability of A. So I just have to multiply them. So if I want to use the given, I have to multiply the given fraction by the probability of the section itself, and second fraction by the probability of the given by the probability of the section itself, and the third one, and I have to add them up. Or I can get the intersection, the probability of the intersection separately, each of them separately, and just add them up. So the way it was solved here, the probability of defective equals the probability of A intersect B, the intersection, the defective, this A dot D means A intersect D. I told you before many times, okay? The probability that it is defective and in A. The second one, probability of this defective and in B. Okay, intersect. So it means intersect. The probability of defective C and defective as well. So these are the probabilities, okay? So I can use this one, the probability of AD, probability of PD, probability of CD, or I can use their expansion. If you expand this one, you will get here the probability of DA or AD, here D given A times the probability of A. Okay, because this is the probability of D intersect A. Okay, and here probability of D given B, and so on. So from the problem here, we already have the probability of the given, so we'll use this one. So it will be the probability of D given A. Here, it's very messy, so let us read it. Okay. The probability of D given A is 0.005 times the probability of A, which is 0.3, and so on. Okay. So in other way, we can write them here. Okay. I have three columns or three factories. One of them is factory A, factory B, and factory C. The probability of the factory A will be, let us write it as a probability of A equals 0.3, 30%. The probability of B will be 0.5, and probability of C so this is the probability of each one of them, probability of A, probability of B, probability of C. So inside it, here it will be the intersection probability of A and what are the defective work here. So this will be the probability of A being A and defective. So it will be the multiplication of them. You remember the law which we just here, the probability of intersection is the probability of given times the probability of A itself. So it will be 0.3 here in this one, 0.3 times the probability of the given, which is 0.005. Here also it will be the same thing. It will be the probability of B, which is 0.5 times the probability of B given D, 0.0075, which we have already here. Okay, it's already written here. Just for explanation purpose, I draw this side one. Okay, and the third one is here. The probability of C given H. H means defective, but here they are using different symbol. Okay, so we can take it from here directly, this multiplication, because this is the probability of D given A times B times the probability of A mubashar directly. Okay, so the probability of D given A, this is the probability of D given A times the probability of A directly, which we can get from here. Okay, and the second one, the probability of D given B times the probability of B, and the third one, the same thing. Okay, so we can get it easy. So the second part of the question said if the disk is purchased already purchased and already found defective, so it is given that it is defective. So probability and it is defective case. Probability it is defective. Okay, but what is the probability he's looking for? This will be here. So given, so what we have now, it is given defective, the probability, and given it is defective. So disk is purchased and found defective. What is the probability that it was manufactured by B? So here he is asking about the probability of being manufactured by B, probability of B, manufacturing B, and it is given that it is defective. Okay, so this is his question. So the probability of P given D can be found in different ways. If you remember, we said the probability of any given thing, we can write it probability of B intersect D divided the probability of D. So do I have the probability of D? Yes, defective. I have got it in the previous example here, which is 0.00575. This is the probability of D, defective. So I have this one. So do I have the probability of B intersect D? I don't have the probability of B intersect D. I can get it, probability of B intersect D as a given, because I have all the givens are here. Okay, all the givens are here. So it will be equals probability of B given D, just to convert it into given. But here I have to divide by probability of the second one, probability of D. Do I have the probability D? Yes, I have the probability D. Do I have probability B given D? Yes, I have the probability of B given D. Or I don't have. I have the probability of D given B. Okay, so here this is a problem for me. So now, in order to answer this problem, let me change the color. Okay. So in order to solve this problem, I have to find the probability of B intersect D. And in order to get probability B intersect D, I notice that I have to get the probability of B given D, but I have probability D given B. Can I convert the probability of B given D, probability of B given D? I want the probability of B given D. Can I get it from the probability B, D given B? The swapping of them, can I get it? Yes. I just take Bayes' theorem in the last slide, okay, and it says that the probability of B given D equals the probability of D given B, the swap. But I have to do one more thing. I have to divide it by the probability of the last one, the probability of D. Okay, so I can get it. So here, what is the probability of D given B? Probability of D given B, 0.0075. It is 0.0075. Divided the probability of D, which is 0.00575. 575. So if I divided them, I'll get how much? So I got 1.313. This is the probability of B given D. Can I put it here, replace it here? Yes. So it will be equal 1.313 divided the probability of D, which is 0.00575. Sorry, here I have done a mistake here. The probability of B intersect D equal B given D times probability of D, not multiply, not divide, it is multiply, okay? So here the probability of B intersect D equals the probability of B given D times the probability of D. So the probability of B intersect D equals the probability of BD, which is, I can get from this page, probability of BD, I just calculate here, it is 1.313 times the probability of D, which is 0.00575 equals probability of B intersect D equals. So sorry, I have done a mistake in this calculation. So here the problem, I just am repeating it again. So please forget the previous part. For this, for section B only. Okay, for section B, if the disk purchased and found to be defective, so it is given that it is defective, what is the probability that the manufacturer is B? So he's asking for the probability. It is given that it is defective and he wanted from B. Probability of B given D. If you remember, we have here in our problem the given, we have DB, I don't have BD. Okay, in order to swap them, I have to use Bayes' theorem. Okay, Bayes' theorem said that in conclusion, after we have the formulas, we have get a formula that if you want to swap B and D, so the probability of B given D equals the probability of the other way of D given B. It could be, we can swap them, but we have to multiply by the probability of the first one, probability of B, and divide by the probability of the second one, divide the probability of D. Okay, which is this one. So here just we will substitute, so probability of B given D, we'll substitute here, so it will give us the probability of D given B, D given B 0.0075, 0.0075 times the probability of B, which is 0.5, divided the probability of D, which we just got from the previous slide, 0.00575. So the answer would be 0.6521. Okay, I hope this one is clear also. Here in this example, they have given another way to solve the problem. So he said that we list down all the table. We have plant P, plant A, plant B, plant C, and the defective part of this plant, because the plant A is 30%, plant B is 50%. So the defective part to the overall, here it will be 30%, the production of this factory times the defective percentage. So this will be the defective percentage to the overall. Plant B will be the same thing, plant C will be the same thing, okay? So the total defective will be 0.00571. So this to the overall, this is the total percentage or fraction of the defective work in the factory A to the overall, and this is in factory B, and this is in factory or plant C. Okay, this will be the total. So the not defective will be the other way around. So if you have out of the 0.3 the production, only 0.0015 defective, so the not defective work, it will be 0.3. Okay, the percentage of the factory minus the defective work, so this will be not defective. Here also 0.5 minus the defective, so not, this is the not defective work. Here 0.2 minus the defective work, this is the not defective. If we add them up, we'll get 0.999 not defective. So if you add these two together, you'll get 1. So the answer is correct. So coming here to the question B also, the probability of B given D that they are produced by B and this given that they are defective. Here we can use because we have all the data here. In the previous problem, we don't have all the data. We have only D given A, D given B, D given C, and the probability of A, B, C. But here we can, from this table, such type of table, give us the intersections, okay? So we can use it for the intersection. So the probability of B given D equals the probability, you can just convert this into intersection and divide by the last one, divided by the probability of D. So it will be the probability of B intersect D. So B intersect D defective. So this is the answer. So this would be equals 0.003375 divided the probability of D. We have already calculated it. This is the probability of the defective work. Okay, the defective, overall defective work. Defective in A plus defective in B plus defective in C, which we have already got from the slide before the last slide, 0.00575. Okay, which is the same thing. So we'll end up with the same answer. This is another way or different way. So we can calculate through intersection or through swapping the given, okay, which is Bayes' theorem, okay? So we have the two options. In this problem, it says that in a population, 32% of the animal have an I mutation. So the probability of I mutation is 32. The 56% of them have ear mutation. The probability of ear 0.56%, and 15% of them have both of mutation. So 15 have both. Both means intersection. Be careful. Both doesn't mean given. Given, if he said some one of them given, so the probability of the other one will be. But here he said both. Both means given. So here, ear intersect I or I intersect E. The probability of I intersect E is 0.15. Are two mutation independent? We said that we have a formula for independent mutation. So we have one of the two conditions. In one of them, both are the same actually, but in one of them which we can prove, so the problem will be solved for the case of proving that they are independent. So if I say that probability of A intersect B equals the probability of A times probability of B, because this intersect probability of A, so this means that they are independent. So here from this problem, I can say the probability of I, let us assume that A is ear, or A is I, use the same order, A is I, different colors. So let's assume that A is the eye and B is the ear, okay? So the probability of A intersect B, the eye intersect ear, which we already have it here, 0.15, equals the probability of A is the eye, okay, 0.32 times 0.56. Is it or no? Let us calculate on the calculator. 0.32 times 0.56 equals 0. This equals 0.18 or 0.792. So they are not equal. If they are not equals, means they are not independent. The other way to calculate it also, in order to help you, because it might come in a different form in the exam, that we have this form. So either this form or this form, okay? So here, which is 0.56. So the probability of A given B equals, so it equals 0.27. So the probability of A given B is not equal to the probability of A, because this one is 32 and this one is 0.27. So they are not equal. So they are not independent also, okay? So either the way this one or this one, both of them works. This example is a straightforward example. Here are events A and B independent to each other if In question A, it said the probability of A is 0.3, the probability of B is 0.4. So the intersection of them, probability of their intersection, A intersect B is 0. In order to be independent, the probability of the intersection of AB or probability of A intersect B, both are the same, okay, should be equal to the probability of A times the probability of B. But already the probability of AB equals 0. And this one is not 0 and this one is not 0. So if 0.4 times 0.3 equals 0.12, okay, so it's not equal 0. And because this is not 0 and this is not, so the multiplication cannot be 0. Okay, so the probability of A and B in the first case, they are independent. So here, since probability of AB equals 0, probability of A is not 0, probability of B is not 0, so the multiplication of them cannot be 0. So it is not independent. We cannot call dependent. It's called independent or not independent. So it is not independent to each other. In general, if they are mutually exclusive, okay, because there is no intersection is 0. 0, there is no intersection means mutually exclusive. The mutually exclusive event, they are never independent to each other. They have to be dependent, okay? They are not independent, okay? Because if tail comes, the coin, the head should not come, and the other way around. Since, coming to B, okay, B says that probability of A equals 0.3, probability of B 0.5, probability of the intersection is 0.15. So here, this is the multiplication. The probability of, let us clean this one. Okay, the probability of the intersection is 0.15. The should be equal to the probability of A times the probability of B. So here 0.5 times 0.3 equals 0.15. So it's right. So they are independent. Okay. So in this problem, what it says that we have 80 patients. Okay, took part of the clinical trial. In the clinical trial, we are given real medicine, the drug, and we are given also the placebo. Okay, so he said here that 50 out of 80, 50 of them have received experimental drug. Okay, and 30 of them have received the placebo. Okay. So the first thing here that we have to set the data. So we say that some of them has taken the drug and some of them will take placebo. So I said the drug, which is the real drug, they are D drug positive, D positive, and D negative means placebo. Okay. As I told you earlier that we just have to put every criteria in one line. So drug positive and the drug negative in y-axis or x-axis, and improved or not improved in the other axis. So we cannot mix them. We cannot put one D here with one I. No, either the line will be D's or will be I's. Okay. So here I decided to put. You have the option. You can put whatever you want. The improved here. Okay. Improved positive, improved negative, and the drug positive, drug negative. So he has said here that 50% of them received the experimental drug. So drug positive, the people who received the drug, 30 people. Okay. 50, he said 50 people. He said 50 people received the drug. So the people received the drug, regardless improved or no, the drug itself, okay, there are 50 people. Number of people received the drug, there are 50, okay. So the number of people who did not receive the drug or receive the placebo is 30, and he even given us 30% of this treated with placebo. Then he gave us one of the intersection. During the trial condition, 30 patients treated with the experimental drug. So 30 of the people who took the drug improved. And 5 of those treated with placebo improved. So the improved positive, 30 who received the drugs, okay? And the 5 who received the placebo improved. So I put 30 here and 5 here. So the total of this who improved is 35. The total of the people who took the drug is 50. So if I have 30 of them improved, so I have 20 not improved. So 50 minus 30 equals 20. Okay. Also the same thing here. The people who take the placebo, 5 of them improved, and they have the total 30, so 25 not improved. So the total number of people who did not improve is this column, okay? Which is 20 plus 25 equals 45. and the total number of the people improved, regardless take the drug or take the placebo, they will be 30 plus 5 equals 35. Okay, and have the total number of people who took the drug 50, number of people take the placebo 30, the total is 80. Okay, so from here I can get the answer. If we randomly select a person whose condition did not improve, so his condition not improved negative, not improved. Okay, what is the probability that she or he received the placebo? Placebo means drug negative, so the probability will be here 25 divided the total number of the people who received the placebo. But actually this is little confusing. You may divide by the wrong denominator. So the best way here is to follow the formulas which we have. So let us write down our answer here. So what is his question? If a person randomly selected whose condition did not improve, so he told us it is given that his condition not improved. Okay, so he want the probability and he gave us something given. I don't know probability of what, but he told me something given, condition is not improved, so I improved negative. Okay, so let us see what is the probability he's looking for. Whose condition did not improve? What is the probability he received? So he wants the probability received the placebo. Placebo is D negative, so the probability of D negative. So he wants the probability of D negative given I negative. There is no improvement. Okay. So this probability I can convert it into intersection because this table has intersections only. It doesn't have given. So the probability of, can change it to probability of D and convert this one to intersection I both are negative. Okay, it is not bar because I bar means complementary, it is negative, so just I have to put it a small one. Okay, probability of I put it negative here aside and D negative here aside. It is not bar. If I put big bar, it means complementary. Okay, so just I converted from D given I to D intersect I divided the last one, the probability of I negative. Okay, so equals the probability of D negative intersect I negative. Here D negative and this is I negative, so it is the 25 here. So it will be D negative I negative. Okay, 25 divided the probability of I negative. I negative, there is no bonus, this means the total because it is not the intersection. I negative, this I negative, this one or the total, it should be the total. He said I negative, he did not say I negative with D positive or D negative, he said I negative only, not improve, 45. So this will be my answer. Okay, so which will give us 0.55. I hope it is clear. Okay, so coming to the last example in this seminar, here it says that in a town 1/1000, so 1 out of every 1000, so 0.001. Okay, 1/1000 of the people suffer from the disease. So this already known that 0.001 has the disease, suffer from the disease. A medical examination identified with 99% certainty condition of the patient. So if he has the disease, okay, and the percentage is 0. Or the portion, the fraction is 0.001. If we did a test, the test will not show that 0.001 all of them have the test. 99% of them only will show that they are positive. So there is an error matter here. Okay, an error issue. It will not show that 0.001 all of them have the disease. Even if they have, it will show 99% of them. So, and it says also here that it shows that the disease condition is 99 of the case. If she or he is healthy, it shows the absence. So healthy should show 100% that they are healthy. It shows that he or she is. It shows that the absence of the disease 99%. It will not show 100% that they are healthy, that they don't have the disease. Still, there's an error also for the negative. Although they are negative, they don't have the disease, but it will show only 99% of them. So it's given here, that's just some clarity. This is equivalent to saying that sensitivity and the specificity of the diagnostic test are both 99 for the two cases, whether they have the disease or they don't have the disease. So what is the probability that the medical examination of a randomly selected person will identify individual as sick? So I want to get the probability that he will be identified as sick, whether it shows or doesn't show. Only sick, okay? I have to draw this table. So here I said that, okay, they have the disease and they don't have the disease, okay? And whether they will show positive in the test or they will not show positive in the test. So what has been given that the people suffer from the disease, the people who have the disease is 0.001, 1 over 1,000. So this is the total number of people has the disease, the total number of them, whether they are showing positive or negative, okay? So here 0.001, this is the total number of them. They are showing 0. So this means the people who don't have the disease, 0.999, 1 minus this number, okay? Okay, then I want any intersection here. The people who has the disease and they show positive, or the people who doesn't have the disease or show positive, or the people who doesn't have and show negative. So let us see what is given there in the problem here. So in the problem here, he has said that a medical examination identifies 99% certainty of the condition of the patient. Okay? So a medical examination identifies 99% certainty of the patient. If he or she is sick, so he already sick, it shows that the disease condition is 90%. So if he is sick, the probability of giving positive, it is not the 0.001. It should show 0.001. No, it shows only 99% of this 0.001. So it shows here 0.99 times 0.001 equals 0.0003099. Okay, 3099. So the point after 5 decimal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's okay. So here he also says that if she is healthy means that she doesn't have the disease or he doesn't have the disease. Okay? If they are healthy, if he or she is healthy, it shows absence of disease by 99%. It should show, if they are healthy, it should show 0.999, but it shows 99% of this. So if it is healthy, doesn't have the disease, okay, it should show negative. Okay? It should show 0.9999 negative. But in reality, it doesn't show this percent. What it shows, if it is negative, it shows 0.99, which should be the case. It should show disease, it doesn't have the disease, and it shows negative. But it shows 99% of it only, 0.99. Equals, just let me just update it under smaller font so we can type here again. So it will show 0.999 times 0.99 equals 0.98901. Okay, so I can get the rest of the two. Here I have the total probability 0.001 and here 0.0099. So I can subtract and I get this number if I wish. I can also subtract and get this number if I wish. Let us see what is here in the problem and we can decide. What is the probability that the medical examination of a randomly selected person will identify individual sick? So he will be identified as sick. Identified as sick means the result will come positive, regardless if he has the disease or he doesn't have the disease. So positive means all this, okay? Positive should be here the total. But I don't know this figure, so I can calculate it. So here, I have to calculate this one. This one will be 99, the total 0.999 minus 0.98901 equals, we'll put it here, 0.00999. So the sum of these two, or the total of this one, the positive shows positive, will be this one plus this one. Okay, I will get the total here. So it will be this plus this equals, data cited in different color, 0.01098. okay, so this is the probability that it will be positive. It will show positive. Positive means sick. When he do the test in the lab, it will show that he's sick. This is the probability that the medical examination of a randomly selected person will identify individual sick. This is the probability, okay? And this is the answer to A, which is 0.01098, okay? The second thing, let us assume that someone who has already found sick in the test. So this now became given. So the probability of something, and we have given. What is the given? That he is sick. And the test shows positive or negative only. This is the rule of the test. Okay? Here from the examination, the test shows sick. So we went to positive. Also here, the test shows positive. Okay? So has been found sick. So positive. Given that he is positive. Okay? But what is the probability he's looking at? Let us assume someone found positive, given positive. What is the probability he or she is sick? So he is looking at the probability he's really sick. Okay? So here, in order to avoid confusion, in the first question he said sick, and also he said sick. But here he said that he did medical examination. The result of the medical examination will be either positive or negative. So that's why we selected positive. Okay, we took the total of the positive. Okay? But here, in this case, that he already gave us that he has been found sick by test. So positive, he's already identified as positive already by test. Positive or negative. So what is the probability of she is indeed reality has the disease? That's why we put disease positive, okay? It is a little confusing because the word sick repeated here and there, but this is the way you can understand, because he already gave it to you that he tested positive already, okay? So here, what is the probability of having the disease being given that he is positive? So probability of disease given that it is positive, given that he is positive, okay? It will be equal to the probability of disease intersect instead of given, P, okay? Divided the probability of the last one, which is probability of positive. The probability of having the disease intersect with P, the disease intersect with P, which is this one, 0.0003099, divided the probability of positive. Positive means the total positive. Positive means the total, not positive with disease, or positive, the total positive, okay? The one which we just get in step A, okay? 0.01098. So the answer will be 0.9016. 0.0916, okay? This is the answer. I hope it's clear, and by having this example, this is the end of this seminar 2 given examples.